stairs below. What was this place? There. That console. Come on, Aether. Time to go home. Yes. Elizabeth Sobek. Alpha Prime.
Master override activated. Restoring Ether subordinate function to original code.
Got it. Now to get this back to Gaia.
The visions in the grove have changed. The words of the Ten are now clear to us. Here, this must be the vision that Chief Hikaru saw years ago. All of the visions are changed, and this one just arrived. Aloy, here. Let's talk. Please, Aloy. Come here.
The visions throughout the grove are different now. And this one, it just appeared. Is this your doing?
Visions have changed.
That's the one that inspired Chief Hikaru.
More testimony of the old ones.
Hear now the words that reunited a people. Following the tragic events of the war, Anne Faraday, the chief architect of the reconciliation effort, addressed a nation in need of hope.
If we look into the future, the lens of the recent past, our fears loom. Wars waged against machines, scarcity of food and water, storms that drive us from our homes. But true courage means facing those fears with conviction instead of cynicism. Leading the peacekeeping effort with these brave men and women, these marshals of the new Southwest, has strengthened my conviction that when we are united, we can overcome any threat. Join me. Join us in that conviction as we strive for a nation and a world without want or war.
Reporting for duty, Commander. I'm coming with you.
But Hikaru needs you.
Because of you, he has new marshals. And a rallying cry the clans cannot ignore. So I will stand with you on your mission. Give whatever is left of my life. It is what I choose.
How can I say no to that? Varl, there's someone who wants to join us. I need you to meet him in the foothills and guide him the rest of the way.
On it.
Go to the mountains, west of Plainsong. A friend of mine will meet you on the ascent. I'll join you when I can.
A friend of yours? Should be interesting.
All right. I need to get Aether back to Gaia. Seems like capturing it did something to the other holograms, too. Might be worth checking out.
You up for a game of strike later? Okay. But you should know that blood and steel shall make it. Well, good thing I have a little something called strategy.
Join JTF-10 for a covert operation deep within the rainforest.
The Outlanders should be more careful.
Whether at home or abroad, JTF-10 protected assets critical to the insurrection. Deep in the jungle, concealed by mud and darkness, they laid their traps for their enemies.
I'll join you then. I wasn't asking you to. I know. But you need...
Juliet 9, you are weapons free and clear to engage the swarm. Good hunting. Copy that. 50
Good day.
Shamefully rude.
You up for a game of strike later?
You'll need courage.
Okay.
Come.
But you should know that I got some news. Good day.
Discover how JTF-10 claimed home field advantage in the desert.
Be always vigilant.
Walk with strength.
JTF-10 seized key assets all across the desert. Where others feared the Mojave's raging sandstorms, JTF soldiers used them for cover, crippling enemy supply lines.
Your enemy is mine.
Observe the grit of JTF-10 in the mountainous regions of the hot zone.
Walk with strength.
Trained to outlast,
walk in the light of the
for
visions.
any climate. JTF-10 were elite defenders in even the most remote mountain landscapes.
May your blade be bright.
Be guided by the 10.
Aloy. A word, if you will?
Wonder what she wanted. Now then.
Out in the field or relaxing at base, Joint Task Force 10 acted as one. Led by Colonel Edward De La Hoya, their bodies and weapons were always honed for battle.
So what?
Meals, ink, bruises. These daredevils of the sky shared it all.
I'd sooner gut one of those drunks than make a deal with them.
Aloy, I'm glad you have returned, and I see you have recovered Aether.
Aloy, can you come downstairs? Beta has something you need to hear.
Okay. I'll be right down.
Aloy, I have managed to unlock additional rooms within the facility.
Got it. Hi, Gaia.
Hello, Aloy.
How's Katalo doing?
I have detected that the loss of his arm still deeply pains him. In an effort to remedy this, I have discussed a potential solution with him. I believe he will want to fill you in on the details.
A solution? I'll check in with him when I can, then. So there's a few people here now, and they're learning. All about you, the ancient world. Almost like what was supposed to happen before Apollo was purged.
Yes. While the loss of the Apollo database was catastrophic, there is still much that can be gleaned from the data you have uncovered. For instance, Varl has been reviewing the last recorded entries from those who perished during the Pharaoh Plague. Hearing their hopes and fears made him quite somber.
Anything I should be worried about?
I do not believe so. I have elected not to intervene, to allow him to process this on his own terms.
The processor Aether was installed on was part of an ancient war museum, a memorial to something called the Hot Zone Crisis. Do you know anything about it?
My knowledge of historical events was unfortunately lost with the Apollo database. However, climate data indicates a peak in regional temperatures in the 2030s. Such conditions would see extreme, prolonged droughts, an increase in dust storms, and a loss of habitable landmass.
But they wouldn't have built a museum in the middle of a wasteland. So I guess things got better eventually.
Yes. Data suggests that temperatures returned to average levels in the clawback era of the 2040s.
There was an ancient tank embedded in the bulwark, buried under a bunch of boulders. Any idea how it got there?
During the Pharaoh Plague, the US military resumed the use of human combatants, as automated machinery was unreliable. It is possible the vehicle was part of a pre-automated war fleet.
So they fought against the Pharaoh machines in the valley, until the mountain was blasted apart and buried them. You mentioned that the superstorms have subsided. Is that Aether at work?
Yes. Thanks to Aether's capabilities, weather patterns in the local region should mostly stabilize for the time being.
That'll be a relief for the Tenakth. One of their villages is still recovering after a mudslide caused the whole place to flood.
I will continue to stabilize the atmosphere for as long as I can.
Why did Aether take up residence in an ancient war museum?
As with the other subordinate functions, Aether needed to install itself on a processor with adequate storage and power. The one in the museum appears to have been sufficient, given that the holographic displays were still active.
So Aether was assured it could stay for as long as it needed to.
Correct. Though it is curious that it chose a place surrounded with the ancient ruins of aircraft.
Maybe it also felt at home there. See you later, Gaia.
Until next time, Aloy.
So the old ones painted their faces with something called makeup. Like the card ship. Why? Yeah, it beats me.
It probably meant something to them. As it does to my people, and the Tanakh.
I just think my face says it all as is, that's all.
That it does.
Looks like Gaia was able to unlock that door. There's a lot of equipment in here. Gaia, what was all this for?
This room was designed for management of the facility's vast seed banks. From here, Control Center operatives would have monitored new crop rotations into the automated farmlands, now known as Plainsong.
I see.
I've been tackling the design of the Ag Lab. Place is gonna have a lot of seed stock to work with. My favorite? Sample 626. Calotropis gigantea. The crown flower. We used to have one in our backyard. Butterflies always fluttering around. Every morning, August would run out there to check under the leaves. See if any caterpillars turned into chrysalises. Now, I'd like to imagine that the future will be filled with them.
According to this console, there are still thousands of plant samples stored deep below the facility. I could ask Gaia about them the next time I talk to her.
Where have I seen this
Hi! Happy birthday, Isaac. Daddy sure does love his little big man.
She found that recording from the data on your focus. She's been watching it a lot. I think it helps calm her.
You know, I used to watch this a lot too. Whenever I wanted to take my mind off things.
Daddy sure does love his little big...
But there's something you need to tell me?
While you were gone, I came down here to check on her. Then we started talking. Right, Beta? She's been thinking about how to capture Hephaestus, studying the data Gaia gave her. But we started talking about some other stuff. You know, just getting to know each other, right? And then she told me that one of the Zeniths might be different from the others.
Tilda. You saw her at the Hades Proving Lab.
Go on.
On the way to Earth, the Zeniths never showed their faces. My servitor caretaker referred to them as my benefactors, and promised I'd meet them someday, when I had learned enough. And then, one day, a data channel opened in my training interface. In it, Tilda was waiting for me, in a virtual replica of a house on a cliff, overlooking the ocean. It was beautiful. She showed me paintings, books, media files. We met there in secret many times. But a few months later, it stopped.
Can you tell us why, Beta?
I found some data about Tilda at the Hades Proving Lab. I think she was a liaison between Far Zenith and Zero Dawn. She knew Elizabeth Sobek, that's for sure.
Maybe that's why she reached out to you?
What else can you tell us about Tilda? She liked to talk about her paintings. What about herself? Did she ever talk about her life on Earth, how she joined the Zeniths, something like that? She never said much about herself, and she hated it when I asked too many questions. But I think back on Earth. She was an expert programmer, given that she built a data channel the other Zeniths couldn't detect. Is there anything else about her that we might be able to use to our advantage?
She was the first real person who ever bothered to speak to me. I wasn't really assessing her for strengths and weaknesses.
You said that Tilda reached out to you using a data channel?
It appeared in my training interface as another assignment. When I opened it, there were a series of intermittent glitches. I realized they formed a transpositional cipher. Instructions on how to open up a new virtual space. When I entered it, my training interface disappeared. Instead of the usual holographic teachers and files, I was in a perfect recreation of her home.
And you're sure the other Zeniths never knew about it?
To them, it looked like I was still in training. Toiling away. Alone.
So this secret virtual space looked like a house with an ocean view?
I could see whitecaps and hear waves crashing on rocks below. And there were gulls crying outside. Inside, Tilda had frames that showed off her favorite paintings, changing at intervals to match the light. There was an armchair she liked. She'd sit there and gaze outside while I looked through her things. We spent hours in that house. I never wanted to leave.
You said Tilda showed you paintings and let you access media files?
Every time we met, she showed me a new painting. I think she was Dutch. All of her favorite pieces were from their golden age in the 1600s. Portraits, allegories, ships at sea. She had so many.
They didn't interest you?
I liked her media portal. It had so much more than my training interface. Clips, shows, holos. My favorite was this one called Second Time Around, about a family whose kid comes back after disappearing during the Hot Zone crisis.
Right, but did this portal have anything about the Zeniths themselves? Anything we could use?
No. Any information about them was redacted.
So Tilda set up a secret virtual space where she could talk to you, a house on a cliff. Then later, she cut you off. But other than the fact that Tilda knew Elizabeth, you don't know why she did those things?
I don't! Okay? I thought of every possible reason that would make her leave, but whatever I did wrong, I don't know what it is! When I finally met the others, she ignored me. Acted like the data channel never existed. None of this even matters. Tilda's the same as the others. It won't help us defeat them.
Okay. Let's leave it at that then.
What's wrong?
I'm trying, Varl. But she is tough to take. I'm out there in the wilds, risking my life every day, and all she can do is hide in there and tell us how hopeless it all is. I'm sorry, she's had a rough time, but she is really not helping right now.
You always seem to be on top of everything, so I sometimes forget about what you've been through. I mean, it wasn't that long ago you were so banged up you couldn't even walk. About that. When I pulled you out of the water back near the proving lab, you were muttering Rost's name. You never talk about him, but he raised you, trained you. You must miss him a lot.
Of course I do. But I don't have time to think about that now. I need to get back out there.
Okay. I'll keep working with Beta. Gaia says she knows a lot about Zero Dawn. And maybe she just needs some time to adjust, and then she can help us with Hephaestus.
Sure. But I won't hold my breath.
I'm telling you, the old ones put blades on their feet and...
Danced on ice.
That doesn't sound safe.
Does sound fun, though.
Aloy. Is everything all right? It seemed like you and Varl were down at that basement for a while.
Yeah, everything's fine, I guess.
Well, okay. What can I do for you?
It seems like you're getting a hang of this data thing.
Yeah, it's been helpful. When I can make sense of anything. I did find the old ones enjoyed a good brew like the rest of us. Only they let machines serve the stuff in bars. They even let the damn things cut you off before you saw the underside of a table. And that's half the fun. Now, you won't see me letting a robot serve me a pitcher anytime soon.
I see someone's been playing Strike.
I'm just trying to get some practice in. Helps take my mind off things.
You should try playing Katalo. It's a Tenakth game. Maybe you'll learn something.
Oh, sure, Tenakth. Sure you won't try and kill me if I win?
Pretty sure. Do I smell ale?
I brought some over from Chain Scrape. With everything that's been going on, I thought we could all use a drink. Besides, there is nothing that brings people together like a good brew. That's what my sister always said, anyways. You're more than welcome to have some.
Maybe another time. I should get going.
Back to reading, I guess. You be careful out there.
Aloy.
Hey, how's everything going?
I am well, but Varl told me Beta's having a hard time adjusting to life here with us. I wish there was something I could do to help.
I'm not sure any of us can.
A tree won't bear fruit in a day. We'll do our best to make her feel welcome.
What are you going to learn next?
I'm not sure. I asked Gaia for suggestions, and she brought up data you found on something called a museum? From what I gather, the old ones would store knowledge in them for all to see and learn from. Like you've done here, for us. Maybe one day, more people will be able to use this place to learn the way we have.
That sounds... crowded, but nice. Is there anything I can help with around here?
Oh, no. We're doing fine.
Are you okay?
You and Varl have been friends for a while.
I like to think so.
I was wondering... what do you know about his mother?
Oh.
That bad, huh?
Why do you want to know?
He's spoken of his sister, Vala, but... I noticed he avoids talking about his mother.
She's the war chief of the Nora. Best warrior the tribe's ever known. Tougher than a Thunderjaw, but she could be pretty harsh at times.
I see. That must have been hard on him. Thank you for telling me. I feel silly not being able to ask Varl directly.
I wouldn't worry about it. He's probably afraid Sona will scare you off someday.
I'd like to see her try.
The Zeniths did a number on Beta. But she seems to trust Varl.
I still can't believe she told him the Zeniths are immortals. Old ones who cut themselves off from the cycle of life and decay. I've never heard of anything so selfish. To deny our dying bodies to the earth. To doom the life that would bloom in their place. It's despicable.
I should get going.
Good luck on your search.
Hey, got a sec?
Of course.
You feeling okay?
I was just thinking about Beta and all that time spent with the Zeniths. To think someone would make a person just to lock them in a room to use when needed, like some sort of tool. Elizabeth Sobek sacrificed herself for the world, and yet they have no trouble treating Beta like a slave.
Another reason we have to stop them. Did Katalo find his way here?
Zoe picked out a room for him. He's kept to himself for the most part.
He's not much of a talker.
So I've noticed. Tried paying my respects for those who fell when we were ambushed at the embassy. Told him I'd never seen anyone throw themselves at a machine like he did. He said a warrior shouldn't be praised for fulfilling their duty. For a second, I thought I was talking to my mother. Never thought a Tenakth and a Nora war chief could have so much in common.
How's training?
Discovering something new about our past every day. When we first met, you asked me if I ever wondered what this world looked like when the old ones lived here. I had thought it was strange at the time, but a lot has changed since I left the Embrace. Now I'm just trying to make sense of everything I thought I knew, and versus everything I know now.
The change is hard, but it gets easier over time. It's hard to believe we're dealing with the original Zeniths. The same ones that left for Sirius 1,000 years ago.
To live on for so long, it doesn't seem natural.
Because it's not.
That weapon we found where Beta was hiding, any chance we can use that against them?
Sylens made sure that wasn't an option.
Why would he build something to hurt Far Zenith, yet allow them to capture you?
With Sylens, there's always an angle. We just don't know what it is yet. What do you make of this Tilda the Beta was talking about?
Well, the way she described it, I can't shake off the feeling that Tilda wanted something from Beta. Maybe because she's Elizabeth Sobek's clone? But whatever she wanted, I don't think she got it. If we knew what it was, maybe we could use it to our advantage somehow.
I don't know. I don't think Tilda and Elizabeth were on the best of terms.
Oh well. At least we can take some comfort in knowing the Zeniths don't trust each other.
Maybe. You brought up Rost before. I do think about him. You know, he was all I had. And he brought me up the best he could. Not only that, when Hades discovered who I was and sent the Eclipse after me, he sacrificed himself so I could survive. But that seems like ages ago. So much has happened since. What I'm doing now, I don't think he could even begin to understand it. The Sacred Lands were all he really knew. So I can't let myself dwell on him. Not with everything I have to do.
I understand. Sometimes, when I think about my sister, about what she would have become if she had survived the Proving, it hurts. And I just need to bury it for a while. But only for a while, Aloy. You can't ignore it forever. Memories always come back. The ones that matter, anyway.
I know. But for now, the mission has to come first.
Fair enough.
I should get back out there.
We'll be here if you need us.
Welcome back.
Hey, Gaia. I'm back.
So I see what is on your mind.
So I talked to Beta. Didn't learn much.
It seems to me you did. From what she describes, the Zeniths controlled every aspect of her life, even as they shunned her. This Tilda was the first person she ever had contact with. An abrupt severance of such a relationship would be very emotionally damaging.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I found some data in one of the rooms you unlocked. It mentioned that there are still functional seed banks beneath this facility. Why is it there?
My predecessor was tasked with reconstituting the biosphere with primary and secondary plant species. Had everything gone according to plan, humans would have eventually been able to introduce tertiary species, including new crops.
Can we access them now?
Unfortunately, it will have to wait. I require control over the machines in order to access and distribute the preserved seed stock.
And for that we need Hephaestus. It's something to look into later then. I should be going.
Goodbye, Aloy.